Right, let me clear my decks here for a chat with the good professor, because Emma Robinson, our techno queen, is busy at work today, so Professor of Cybersecurity at Ulster University, not a bad stand-in, joins us for our Tuesday Technology Spot. Professor Kevin Curran. Kevin, lovely to have you on. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mark.
Kevin, you've got some amazing spots here. You don't have to go to the wee shop, as people now, to collect your parcel. You don't have to hope nobody nicks it from the front door. Delivered to the car boot. I'm not sure about this, Kevin. Do you like it?
I do like it, especially now that cars can be opened and started remotely using an app. So what Ford have done is team up with Hermes, the delivery people, and it allows a Hermes driver to come along, use the app to open your boot of the car, put the parcel into a dry, safe storage utility. They take a photograph and then the boot closes, and there it is. They don't have to climb stairs. They don't have to knock on doors. And, it's a good option.
And would the option be for somebody like me who doesn't have an app to the key under, key under a Kingfisher statue, front left garden? We've all sorts of concoctions that we do, but this works well, especially if you do have a car which is connected, which is able to connect to over the web. Someone can come along, open it, in the boot. Of course they get into the car, but you got to trust someone some days, and we're all moving online. We're shopping more and more online. Deliveries, we all want our parcels delivered, and I think this is clever, and this will catch on. I think as cars become more technologically enhanced. Yeah, friends have the app that lets them see who's at the front door if they're, in the city, if they're over in Spain. I mean, amazing enough. But you're saying an app will allow you to open the boot in your car. Goodness me. That's amazing. That's probably not even that modern, but it's modern for me. Kevin, by the way, obviously, did you miss your WhatsApp? Did you miss your Facebook and Insta last night? Kevin, I didn't miss it a bit. I phoned two actual human beings and watched a bit of great telly.
Exactly. No, I'm not big into social media, so I could live without it easily.
Yeah. He's apologized. I like to think it's somebody simply, forgot to put 50p in the meter. They're saying in the future, Ireland is a data center of data centers will need half of its electric to power them in future. Huge issues, Kevin.
Oh yes. The world is moving online, but again, that's where they're sinking kind of shipping containers in the sea, which have servers in them to keep them cold. Really, that's the big thing. Computers require a lot of heat. If you ever walk into a data center, believe me, if the power goes off, you wouldn't know that you're in a sauna within an hour. So again, cooling is very, very important.
That's is that the reason why so many they say will end up in Iceland or Greenland?
Exactly, geothermal properties there. Yeah, that's the key to it.
Yeah, Kevin, I want to talk about Windows 11 start menus. Does this stuff really matter to people?
Not really. In fact, a lot of people were surprised because when Windows 10 was launched, they said that would be the last version of Windows ever. But of course, they released Windows 11, and to be honest, it's still the same. The start menu is in the middle of the screen, and they got rounded corners, but really, it does the same thing underneath. It really does.
Yeah. Okay. What QR code? That's like the chessboards that you see on your airplane ticket these days. That's a QR code, right?
Yeah. Kind of the dots and
Yeah. So what is Lime then, Kevin? Never heard of it.
Okay, Lime are one of them scooter companies that you come along and you've got the Lime app and you come along and you just see a scooter in the street. I used them all last year when I was in Paris, actually. So I'd come along, I'd leave maybe the workplace I was in, and I would look for the nearest scooters, and I wouldn't have to go far, and I'd go over to a scooter, and I would have 7 or 8 apps actually, but some of them were Lime. And if I see a Lime scooter, I just scan the code on my phone with the Lime app, and then off I go through the streets, and then I would leave it literally outside the house. You could leave it anywhere really on the street. And of course, you're only charged for the ride that you do. But unfortunately, people are stealing the QR barcodes off these scooters so that people can't use them,
Gotcha.
And, we've seen this before with other scooters. There was a company which had to leave Manchester, Mobike, because they were losing 10% of their scooters every month due to vandalism and theft.
And the BBC reporting that these codes are not being even removed by Lime users, but people who are anti-Lime, anti-scooter.
Yeah, I definitely got a lot of that. A lot of people, you're right, because a lot of people who live especially in Paris, I remember seeing people complaining all the time because young people would leave the scooters just lying on the street. rather than on the curb. There's kind of an etiquette what you should do, but they would get really annoyed because scooters would be left everywhere. And blind people are actually having a problem now with scooters because they're so randomly just left lying on the ground.
And there's some of them are getting pretty chunky and pretty nimble. They're like motorbikes to me, Kevin. I mean, surely there are going to be more and more insurance issues down the road.
It was funny because my friend just got like what really is like a mini motorbike, electric bike, and to be honest, it's road legal. You can fly through the streets with it, and it only £100 a year to tax, and actually it goes up to fairly good speed. And there's this grey line between, because to me it is a motorbike, but yet there's no need for a license, no need for any test, so. We're kind of in a grey zone at the moment when it comes to electric bikes and electric scooters.
What did happen last night with Facebook, Kevin? Did somebody just pull the plug out? No, couldn't have been.
No, it was a configuration error. Look, networks are extremely complex, Mark, and Facebook look after their own autonomous systems. There's about 100,000 autonomous systems which make up the backbone of the internet. They have 3.5 billion customers, but it just takes one or two mistakes really, and it cascaded down, and that's what happens because the computer systems don't work with the names that we know, like Facebook.com or Microsoft.com. They work with numbers, and it's all redirected by routing tables. And like I said, 5% of the internet traffic, the packets passing through the network right now on the internet, are to do with management control. The routers telling each other, here's the best route to Facebook, here's the best route to London, here's the best route to Belfast, this route's down, this route is up 10%. They're telling each other all the time to make it more efficient, passing back information to their nearest neighbor. But if you get some of the configuration tables wrong, that just cascades down the line, and one router tells the other router, Facebook's no longer available, then the next, whatever, the IP address is no longer available, and that goes on to the edge of the network, and it's very hard to get back again. But it really was just a mistake because, people are human.
But Kevin, I was watching Vigil going, look, this is so simplistic, please don't laugh. But if you wanted to disable a nation these days, WhatsApp groups, it seems the governments are run by WhatsApp groups. I'm in loads of them. You would just go down and submarine and cut the cable. Is that true?
Well, that did happen to Egypt about 12 years ago. The cable was cut by, they reckon, an anchor, ship's anchor, but they can't prove it. But yes, most of the communication around the world takes place through undersea cables. We've got transatlantic cables coming in here, Curran, whatever. But all the countries have it, and they do get damaged. Sharks tear them actually, even though they've got kind of Teflon around them and everything else. But they get dragged up by ships' anchors all the time, and there's ships at sea which have to go and rescue them and lift up the cables and splice them back together again. But most of the communication takes place under the sea.
Okay, Kevin, out of 10 for this, I have a tech report for you. I got the internet in the house, and I got so much internet that I can actually watch the TV off the internet. Are you impressed?
Oh, very much. Yeah.
So what year does that make me now? 1981, or where am I now?
Well, hopefully you've leapfrogged a lot of people. Hopefully do you know what your bandwidth limit is? Do you have?
It's a cable. It's a cable.
Yeah. Do you know if you get 100 megabits or you're not sure?
Must get 100, yeah. It's easy. I would say looking at it, you're talking two or 300, I'm sure. Yeah. I have no clue what it is, Kevin. But how would I know if it was on? All I know is that when I go to the BBC iPlayer, and I am a license fee payer, that it comes up like the minute I push the button.
Yeah, you just go to Google. You just go to Google, Mark, and you type in speed test, and you need the first search, and you just click on it, and it'll do a speed test for you.
In the house?
It'll show you. Yeah. Just go to Google and type in speed test, and you get speedtest.net probably.
Look at them all nodding behind the glass, like Uncle Andy here has just arrived out of the 18th century. Kevin, it's a mysterious world, but I'll tell you what, last night, in a word if you can, last night taught me, do you know what? Slow living, and I know you'll never do it because you're the gadget, you're the front foot gadget, I suppose, academically you're required to be. But I tell you what, acoustic living has a lot to be said for it.
Oh, very much. Very much. I feel sorry for some of the older people whose only website is Facebook, but, they will survive. But of course, it's the people who run businesses on Facebook who would have suffered, like Marketplace and everything else, because it has become a business platform as well. So we can't forget that.
Kevin, thanks for that. Highly informative, as always, in the capable hands today. Emma's away today, but Professor Kevin Curran, if you don't mind, is at hand, the cybersecurity professor at the Ulster University. Very good stuff.